Hello, everyone. I hope you're having a fabulous evening. And I am so excited to share some information with you. I get the funnest topic. I actually love training on this because I have learned so much in the past 6 months that I have been able to apply to both myself and my family, and it has been a game changer. So what we're talking about tonight is that looking thing, MTHFR. Of course, we joke, it almost sounds like a bad word. So what is it? What is it? So tonight I'm going to go through several questions that I know each of you probably have thought or will, and do my best to help you understand them and to make a decision, really. Okay, so what is MTHFR? So MTHFR is an enzyme. It is an enzyme that's created by a cell. The cell gets its instructions from a specific marker in our genetic code. So that's really what DNA is. DNA is the instruction made at the moment we were conceived. And so there are instructions telling a cell what to do. The cell responsible for making MTHFR, which is an enzyme, is what we're looking at here. So if you were to find out, or for those of us that have the MTHFR genetic variation, mutation variation, what that means is our bodies don't make enough of the enzyme. And there's basically 3 different categories because there's two genes, 2 letters, the code is made up of 2. So either you're going to find out in your report that you have no variation whatsoever, and I have just a little analogy that I do. So this is if both of your genes are coded correctly. So this would be no variation, no mutation. Or you're going to find out that maybe one of your genes are off, and that is called a heterozygous mutation. Or you're going to be like me and find out they're both off. That's the most extreme form, and that is called homozygous. So what that means is if you're here, you're making the right amount of that enzyme. If you're here, you're reduced about 40%. And if you're like me, I make about 70 to 80% less of that enzyme than someone who was coded normally. And so what does that mean, right? Again, I just discovered this about 6 months ago. So immediately I want to know, what does that mean? And the simple way to state it is it means that my body is unable, about 70 to 80% reduced ability to take folic acid and turn it into folate. Okay, we'll dive into a little bit more what that means, but that's really at a basic form, that's where the problem lies. Folic acid is actually synthetic. And the point of it is it's supposed to be converted, methylated into folate, which is what our body wants. Folate is B9, and folate is what we actually get out of food. So folate is what we need. If you do not have the mutation, your body can properly turn folic acid into folate. If you don't, then I'll get into that. There's a couple things that can start going wrong. Okay, so hopefully that explains what it is. Now, I always like to think about, why are we hearing so much about it? And this is a really great time to be looking at this, because what's truly happening is, first of all, you need to know that up to I've seen numbers as high as 57% of the population. So that means more than half, right? If that number is accurate, that means the majority of people have at least the heterozygous, at least the one off. So it's very common. It's estimated around as high as 57%. And really, science and technology has, gotten so much more advanced and readily available that, of course, when that happens, the price for things start coming down. So what used to cost thousands of dollars to test for this one MTHFR is now one of the 23 things you're going to find out about in your nutrition and fitness DNA report. How cool. When I go over what implications it could have, you'll see why it's in a nutrition and fitness DNA test. So this is just an amazing deal. So that means that a lot of people are finding out for the first time, like myself, that they have this genetic variation. So you're going to continue to hear more and more about it. In the past, it was usually a last-ditch effort. If doctors were trying to figure out what was going on with somebody, that would be one of the very last things they would do. It's kind of that, like, we don't know what's going on, so let's run this test. And that's the one that used to be so expensive, but now it's just becoming more and more available. So that's so great that we all get to have this information. So that's why you're hearing more about it. It's very affordable now. And really, here's what you need to know. First of all, I am just so grateful to have found out. This is not a diagnosis. It is not a disease. It is not saying that I am doomed. Any of those things. It's information, and information properly applied can really be a game changer. And so what this mutation or this genetic variation can do, the list is long, right? It is a very long list of things that could go wrong. And so, there's some really big ones to really stop and lean in on when you hear. The MTHFR could be the cause of autoimmune diseases, of thyroid issues, cancer. Specific types of cancer are linked with the MTHFR. Also, I'm trying to look at my list. Cardiovascular, that's actually what started me on my research towards this, because heart disease runs in my family. A reduction in folate leads to heart disease. So cardiovascular, heart attacks and stroke. And there's a lot to do with infertility and miscarriages, and then also in certain problems that can arise in pregnancy, such as preeclampsia and things like that. So those are big, right? That's like, okay, these are serious. But what about all the symptoms caused by MTHFR that we might just think it's just the way it is? Things like being tired all the time, lack of energy, right? How many people experience that and just go, oh, that's just me, I just have to deal with it. What if you don't? What if it's truly something that can be addressed and fixed? Lack of energy, chronic fatigue, insomnia, depression, anxiety, gastrointestinal issues, like bloating and IBS and things like that. Headaches and migraines, because I know a lot of people suffer with that, but also the inability to lose weight. So there could be some symptoms going on, and that's what was happening to me. I didn't go searching for this, but when I look back, I see that I did have some symptoms of it, but I never would have known had I not done this. So that is what's so exciting, because once you know, I'm about to tell you how easy it is to address. So what do we need? Well, first of all, you need to find out. You need to know if you have 0 variation, 1 or 2. You really do need to know. And so after you discover that, let's say you're like me, you found out, oh my goodness, I have the most extreme form. So I began to look at what is in my life that has folic acid in it, because not only, so here's the 2 things that can happen. Number one, we're going to not be able, right? I said we have folic acid needs to turn into folate. If that cannot happen, right, then what's happening to all this folic acid that I'm taking? And keep in mind, if you're a woman and you've been pregnant, or I think of times right now that you heard your doctor say, take folic acid. Make sure you take all your folic acid. Well, unfortunately for me, and and for a majority of the people, that folic acid builds up in my body like a toxin. It's not getting turned into folate like it's supposed to, and it's building up like a toxin, because another somewhat negative side effect of having this variation is that I don't detoxify as well. The MTHFR is also helpful in detoxification. So here I am taking folic acid, it's not doing what it's supposed to do, and it's building up like a toxin, okay? That can manifest in several different ways. Now what's happening over here? I was supposed to be getting folate, and I'm not. So I'm dealing with the toxic folic acid overload buildup, and I'm dealing with a folate deficiency. So I really got 2 things going on here that I looked at and started addressing immediately. So number 1, I needed to get folic acid out of my system. Fortunately, and I forgot to grab them, I'm sorry, the ID Nutrition, which is a result of a health assessment. Some of you may or may not have done that or heard of that yet, but it is genius. It knows that I have the MTHFR. I'll touch on that at the end. But so I am getting folate in my supplementation. Now, my prior vitamins had acid in it. So had I been taking my old vitamins, I would have needed to stop taking those immediately and make sure to supplement in folate. Okay, so that's the one thing. Also, though, I need to get folic acid out of my pantry and out of my refrigerator. The heavily processed foods, let's take like example, maybe like a children's cereal that has like 0 nutritional value in it inherently, gets fortified with vitamins. Okay, you'll see like they're proud, you know, we're fortified with vitamins. Typically folic acid is one of those. So all of those had to leave my pantry. The breads that maybe I shouldn't have had anyway. So I had to go and become a label reader again in my own home. And I just switched out things with folic acid for things without. And so was really easy to do. And that's my message here. So check that out. So I make sure that I'm taking the right vitamins, and I just swapped out, you know, we don't have those cereals anymore. And so that's a good thing. And so, but here's even crazier twist to the story. So soon after I took my DNA test, I had my husband take his, and we got his results back. And guess what? He is just like me too. We are both the most extreme form. So it's genetic. What do you think that means for our 8-year-old son and 14-year-old daughter? Right? They probably don't need folic acid or, you know, those cereals anyway. And yes, we are absolutely getting them tested. So for our entire household, I just cannot express how grateful I am to know, especially for them. Like, imagine if I had not spent the last, you know, 35 years, like if I was 8 years old or 14 when I found this out. I'm 44 now, so for 44 years, I've been getting folic acid that I didn't need. It's done now, but think about, you know, my sweet 14-year-old daughter, we know this now. So we're able to prevent a lot of those problems. And I will tell you that as soon as I made the switch and started supplementing with my good ID nutrition, I felt it. One of the things that got relief is headaches. I'm sleeping better. I'm sleeping so much better. Jamie did an amazing training on that last night. And yes, the sleep strips are amazing, but I'm sleeping so much better. And just peace of mind, knowing that knowing that we have this as a family and that it's okay. It's just information. You know, knowledge is power. We're connecting the dots to feel our best. And, you know, ever since finding out all the things in this report, I have been able to get results so much faster. I've saved so much money. And this is just one of the, you know, there's so many different factors that are funneling into this to make, just to make me feel the best that I've ever felt. So let's see, with that, yeah, I wanted to end with making sure that, you know, when you get your DNA results back, make sure that you don't forget to reach out to your mentor, because the results from your DNA can be married up with your personalized nutrition. So that is just the coolest thing in the world. I know now that everyone in my family is getting folate, getting the good stuff, getting what we need. So I really hope that that helps understanding. Of course, you know, you can go way further than that with it. But it's just, it's really cool, and it's really neat to see how the body works. And, you know, I love seeing, this is the National Geographic from like last month. I love seeing how more commonplace it's becoming for people to find this out. Because once you know, it's amazing how much more convicting it is once you know something like this. You know, DNA, you only have to do it once. It never changes. And once someone can tell you something 1,000 times, right? But once you know, once you get your owner's manual for your body, there's, you know, nothing can change you off of that. So it's very convicting, very empowering. And then you have the information that you need to just totally transform your life, do life better, feel amazing, and just, you know, just enjoy life. That's what it's all about. So if y'all have any questions, I'll watch here and see. You can post them in the comments and shed a little light on the MTHFR, and y'all have a fabulous evening. Bye.